Bloomz helps parents stay updated on what's happening in their kids' classrooms. Make sure that you let parents know that you will be using Bloomz to stay in touch with them. You can share that Bloomz adapts to them, so whether they want to receive updates through a text message, phone call, email, or through the app, they can easily stay up to date. Whether they are reading and seeing photos and announcements from the class, messaging directly with a teacher, or signing up for conference time or volunteer opportunity, Bloomz keeps parents informed and engaged. Today we will be walking through how to invite parents to Bloomz, how to manage your roster in Bloomz, and last we'll take a look at a parent account so that you can provide good tips to parents as they are getting started in Bloomz. You will first need to make sure your parents are invited or enrolled in your Bloomz roster. Click on the class in the left navigation menu and click the Manage icon. You might see parent contacts already in your roster. If you are using Bloomz for schools, your school or district may have already added parents to your classes, and your district or school is still managing the roster. In this case, work with your school or district if you notice any contacts still needed to be added. If you are needing to invite parent contacts to Bloomz, you will need to click the plus parent in the top right corner of Bloomz. You will notice that there are 3 ways to invite parent contacts to Bloomz: through an email, phone number, or an access code. We do recommend that you invite parents through an email or phone number. Even if you have parents that do not actually download the Bloomz app or ever activate their accounts, if you have invited them through a phone number or email, they will still receive the updates from Bloomz through text or email messages. If you click to invite by email or phone number, you can simply copy and paste all of your emails and or phone numbers into the invite. Customize your message and click send. Make sure that you initially only invite parents using their primary contact method. If you send a parent an invite to both a phone number and an email address, the parent could potentially set up 2 accounts. You can also click to use an access code. This is a good way to quickly get started on Bloomz with a class or group, especially if you do not have easy access to updated contact information. Keep in mind that you can always invite by email or phone later if you need to. Click Access Code. You can copy and paste the code and share it with your parents, or you can simply download the PDF and share this. This will give them all the instructions they need to get started on Bloomz. Once parents are invited to Bloomz, you can continue managing and adding new members if necessary in your roster. Click into the class and click the Manage icon. You will notice that some parents will be in the invited stage. These are parents that have received the initial invitation to join Bloomz but have not yet activated their accounts or downloaded the Bloomz app. They are still receiving either email or text notifications from Bloomz, but you might want to click the Invited box to re-invite them if they need a new invitation. If needed, you can also click the circle icon next to any of these contacts and remove them from the group or resend the invitation to them all at once. The contacts below have activated their Bloomz accounts and are engaged in your class. If you click on an individual contact, you can view their profile, remove them from the class, link them to a student if this was not already done, or even edit their phone contact information. By clicking on the circle icon next to any of the contacts, this allows you to do it in bulk. You can click Select All or multiple contacts and remove them or add them to a new class or group all at once. As a reminder, if you click into class settings and click Edit Settings, there are some parent permissions and controls for commenting and communicating. On the General tab, you can turn on or off parent-to-parent communication. If you click on the Permissions tab, there are additional controls to turn on, off, or even add a level of moderation for parent commenting or posting in the class page. If you turn off the comments, parents will still be able to send private replies to you. This just won't be a public comment for all members of the class to view. Lastly, let's take a look at the parent experience of joining and using Bloomz so that you can understand and support parents who are getting started. There are 3 ways that you can help parents get started on Bloomz. Parents will either receive an invitation email or an invite to Bloomz through a text message. Or a teacher might end up just sharing a class access code or a join code to get started on Bloomz. If you have invited parents by an email address, they will receive an invitation email to join Bloomz, which looks similar to this. Encourage them to click the red join button in the email to activate their Bloomz accounts. After clicking join, depending on whether you invited them by email or whether your school or district administrator did this for you, parents might need to add or confirm their name, contact details, primary language, child in the class. If you're a Bloomz for Schools user, most likely this information is already in Bloomz and will not be asked. Next, they have an opportunity to invite a spouse and click Done. Once they click Start, the parent is ready to begin on Bloomz. If you invite parents through a phone number, this is what it will look like for them when they sign in to activate their accounts. The parent will receive a text message with a temporary password. They will be prompted to copy this password and click the link in the message to sign in. Next, they will add a name and update their password. The parent will finish following the prompts to begin starting in Bloomz. If you shared an access code with parents, it is easy for them to get started by downloading the Bloomz app or going directly to bloomz.com and clicking Sign In. They will click Enter Code and type in the code you shared with them. They will enter some more information and click Start. If you have a parent who already has a Bloomz account and you have invited them by email or phone to that same account, all they will need to do is click their notifications and accept the invites. If you are sharing an access code with this parent, they will go into their app and they can click plus class or group and join the class there. Now that you have successfully invited your parents to Bloomz, they can get started in communicating with you directly in messages. They can keep track of events, field trips, and calendar reminders for their student, and they can even communicate and cheer on their student and the class in the class updates and announcements.